Reno City Planning Commission meeting of Wednesday, February 1st, 2012. If I could get everybody to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Kevin Weisky.
Here.
Dennis Romeo. Here. Doug Kaufman.
Here.
Patty Egan.
Here.
Buzz Harris.
Here.
Dagny Stapleton. Here. Jason Woosley.
Here.
Thank you. Next on our agenda this evening is public comment. This item is for either general public comment or for public comment on an action item. If commenting on an action item, please place the agenda item number on a request to speak form. Michelle, do we have any requests to speak forms?
No, we do not.
Okay. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak under this public comment agenda item who has not filled out a request to speak form? Remember, there is also, you can speak during an agendized item, and there is also a public comment agenda item at the end of our agenda this evening. So if you've missed this one, you can grab one of the others, let's hope. Hearing and seeing none, I will close public comment. Next on our agenda this evening is approval of meeting minutes of January 4th, 2012.
Commissioner Kaufman.
Commissioner Kaufman.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Stapleton.
I do have a comment or change on the minutes, something
Please.
I saw in there. That's all right.
Please.
On page 8 of 9, and I know that the minutes are significantly shorter, and I thought that's a good thing because it's good to be concise. But there was one thing I thought was really important. We had that very long discussion about distances of signs, and then the key phrase was on the same side of the street. And in the second paragraph, second sentence, I think it should say currently written.
Okay.
For clarification. And then I think that it should be made clear, since that discussion was condensed into one paragraph, that what we were discussing was language that was suggested by Clear Channel's representative, because that's not in there, and I think that's kind of important that it was an amendment suggested language from
Okay.
Clear Channel. So I
That's
just
fine.
thought it's important to put that in there somewhere if we could amend the minutes.
Okay.
That key phrase, that same side of the
Does
street.
anybody have any objection to the corrections that are recommended by Commissioner Stapleton? Commissioner Stapleton, what I would ask you to do is to, at the end of our meeting, turn those corrections over in writing to Michelle so that she can amend our meeting minutes accordingly.
Yes, will do.
Thank you. I have a motion. Would you like to make the second?
Yes, I'll second the motion. As if he would amend his motion to say that we would approve the minutes as amended.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Kaufman?
Move to approve with the amended wording.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone absent?
Commissioner Egan, I was absent for the January 4th meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next on our agenda this evening, City Council liaison reports. Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that item also. Next is public hearings. Starting off this evening with LDC 12-00028, Stone Valley Commercial Grading. If the applicant's representative will come forward, please, you will have 15 minutes to describe your project.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. For the record, Randy Walter with Places Consulting. I'm here representing Ryder NV Management this evening. Also with me is Rob Dunbar with Ryder NV Management, if you have any questions for them. Just to familiarize yourself with the site and where the project is. How to do this. This is Mayanne. This is Rob Drive. It's got to go this way.
Oh, please, yes.
I'll test my dexterity.
Move
here.
it around a little bit if you need to.
This is Mayanne Avenue. This is Rob Drive. This is the street called Stone Valley, which is really just a connector between Mayanne and Rob Drive. It also is a circulator for the commercial property that's in here at this point. This piece is the only vacant piece that's left in this particular community, and we're looking at one portion of it today. A few months back, this property was brought to you for a zone change to bring it back into conformance with the McQueen neighborhood plan, which was neighborhood commercial. That was done by this commission and approved by City Council. What's before you this evening is a special use permit for fills in excess of 10 feet by your code. The property itself is being developed at this particular point in time, the front portion of it, which is where the fill is. The portion that you see highlighted in the brown is the portion that's in excess of 10 feet. It's basically a hole in the ground. It's part of a hole that was left from the grading for the entire property around it. They ran out of dirt, so the hole's left over. The facility that's being built on this property is a memory care facility. It's for Alzheimer's patients in particular. But the real application that's before you this evening is for a special use permit for fills in excess of 10 feet. This particular project actually was done a couple different times. The first time the building that was placed on the site was actually too big. It ended up with some fairly large walls on both sides. We were able to convince the potential future buyer to reduce the footprint of that building, bring it in a little bit, reduce the walls on both sides, and it has something that's much more compatible than it would have been under the original proposal. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Staff? Nathan, before you get started, are there any disclosures? I have a disclosure. I did meet with the applicant's representative to get some clarification on some documents. Nathan, please.
Good evening, Nathan Gilbert, Associate Planner. Staff concurs with the applicant's presentation of the project. We received one phone call inquiry regarding the project. No comments were received regarding them. It was a general inquiry on the project. As conditioned, staff recommends approval. We would like to bring to your attention, we have Jeff Mann here from the Parks Department. There's a condition related to the parks with the adjacency to the project. Jeff can answer any questions you may have regarding that parks condition and parks adjacency. Also, want to remind the condition, just to reiterate what Mr. Walters had said, that this is a special use permit for grading on the site due to the way that the courts have instructed local governments to process these. We process them one at a time. This is a discretionary approval for grading of the site to make sure that it's compatible with residential adjacency and fills over 10 feet. While it's very likely that this may be a congregate care facility, any use that is allowed by right in the neighborhood commercial zone could be here. And so what's under your review this evening is for a grading permit. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I will open public comment. Michelle, do we have any requests to speak forms on this agenda item?
No, we do not.
Is there anyone here this evening who has not filled out a request to speak form who would like to speak on this agenda item? Hearing and seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the commission for questions and or discussion. I have one question for Nathan. Staff, please. It's condition number 8, which allows construction hours, days, and operations shall be limited to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. Since this is built up around it, is it normal for Sundays to be an operational day for a grading and filling project?
It's a standard condition, but can certainly be modified by the commission. The grading does come within a few feet of residential property lines. That may be a concern for the commission that you're certainly welcome to address.
Okay, thank you. Fellow commissioners, I don't really have heartburn with leaving it the way it is. If you ask me what my preference is, I'd like to see Sundays be a quiet day out there, just because it does back up to built-out residences. If it was just residentially zoned property, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but Mr. Walters, if you wouldn't mind coming up, I understand typical work schedules and construction schedules, it wouldn't be there anyways, but would you mind if we dropped the word Sunday?
The applicant does not have a problem with dropping the word Sunday. He, quite frankly, doesn't want to pay overtime for Sunday anyway, so.
Didn't think so, but I thought I'd clarify it. Thank you very much. If somebody would like to make a motion, an amended motion, I guess, and drop Sunday, I would appreciate that. Commissioner Romeo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the case of LDC 12-00028, Stone Valley Commercial Grading, based upon compliance with the applicable findings, I move to approve the special use permit subject to conditions with the modification of condition 8 to eliminate 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. We want the words "and Sunday" removed from condition 8. I can make the findings.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Kaufman?
I'll second that motion and make the findings.
Thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excuse me. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Good luck with your project. Next on our agenda this evening is LDC 10-00017, Echeverria Silver Lake PUD. If the applicant's representative will come forward and introduce himself, please. You will have 15 minutes to describe your project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, for the record, Andy Derling with Wood Rogers, representing the Peter Echeverria Family Trust. With me tonight is Teresa Maloney, one of the trustees, as well as Becky Stock and Jen Budge, who are very interested in the open space that we'll be dedicating to them. Just to give you kind of the Reader's Digest version of the development plan for this PUD, we've got approximately 218 acres of open space, and that consists of a large portion of Silver Lake, which is along the northern portion of the site. It also includes a 6.8 acre parcel that includes a warm water spring-fed pond that would also be part of the open space. We've got 67 acres of industrial, which we patterned in the PUD after the industrial commercial zoning standard in the city. And then lastly, there is a 4 acre large lot residential 2.5 acre parcel, not a part of the PUD, but being rezoned at this time as well. It's a 4 acre parcel, 2.5 acre zoning, so it would not have subsequent parcelization of that. We did that on purpose. It's for the existing home and horse facilities that are out there right now. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Andy, thank you very much. Staff, before staff starts, is there any disclosures? Commissioner Stapleton?
I spoke with the applicant's representative.
Thank you. Commissioner Romeo?
I've had a phone call from the applicant's rep.
Commissioner Harris, I had a phone call from the applicant's representative also.
Commissioner Kaufman?
I also had a phone call conversation with the applicant's representative.
Commissioner Woosley?
I had a phone call from the applicant rep.
Commissioner Egan?
I also had a phone call.
As have I. So they got us all. Okay.
Vern Close, Senior Planner. Andy characterized the request very well. The standards in the PUD address all the applicable issues related to a project of this type: architecture, landscaping, signs, lighting, adjacency, those sorts of issues. It also meets the policies in the joint corridor plan as well as in the master plan, and meets all the findings. One clarification on the agenda: it says for possible action for a special use permit. Obviously, this is a zoning map amendment for a PUD, so that was just needs to be clarified. I did receive 2 phone calls on this project. Both were just informational, just wanting to know what was going on, where it was. And this project was also heard at a joint meeting by the CAB and the NAB in November of 2009. It's been around for a while. It's taken us some time to get this here, but staff is recommending approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions should you have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Vern. With that, I will open public comment. Michelle, do we have any requests to speak forms on this agenda item?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. If I can get those, please. First up is Becky Stock. Becky, if you'll come forward, please. You will have 3 minutes. Following Becky is Jennifer Budge. You will have 3 minutes also. Introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Good evening. I'm Becky Stock. I work for Nevada Land Conservancy as the project director. And I just wanted to clarify for the Planning Commission that Nevada Land Conservancy is in support of this project. We have been working with the Echeverria family since roughly 2008. We have a State Question 1 bond grant that will help acquire some of the open space adjacent. And we definitely have enjoyed working with the family, and we look forward to having this planned unit development amendment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jennifer?
Thank you, Commissioners. Jennifer Budge, Park Planner. I'm with Washoe County Regional Parks and Open Space. On behalf of the Department of Regional Parks, we want to support the project, and we're very thankful to the Echeverria family for working with us and Nevada Land Conservancy. This is an important project for the community out there. It has important natural resource values, and we're very happy to be in support of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this agenda item who has not filled out a request to speak for? Hearing and seeing none, I will close public comment, bring it back to the commission for questions, discussion. Commissioner Woosley?
Yes, I just wanted to disclose that I saw this back in '09 on the NAB, and but I think that it doesn't affect my decision here. All right, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Stapleton?
I did have one question for Andy about and it's the question I asked earlier, about the mitigation for the flood control, the building up the flood wall and then mitigating on the other side where the drainage channel is. Just so that, to give me an idea in terms of the scope of the project when it's developed, of the amount that'll have to be mitigated on the other side. So the amount of dirt that has to be removed to mitigate for the part of the parcel that's in the 100-year floodplain.
Right. So because a portion of the property is in the 100-year floodplain, and this is a zero net displacement or closed hydrographic basin, we do have to mitigate the areas that are encroaching into the 100-year floodplain. With the mitigation, it's approximately 64,000 cubic yards that would need to be mitigated. And what we've done is, this is a showing, and I apologize, it's in black and white and difficult to see, but it's showing the extension of the drainage way along the south east portion of the industrial portion of the PUD. So and then at the end of that to the east, this area there, that in conjunction with the depth of the drainage way is the appropriate amount of mitigation area that we would need. And to also answer your question that we talked about on the phone, the depth of the channel is 5 to 8 feet, and then the depth of that volume mitigation area, that wider area, is 0 to 3 feet. So it's at grade, and then it comes back to about 3 feet in depth.
So, and then for how big of an area?
Square footage wise, I'm not sure. It's several acres.
Okay. Just wondering, that's the information I was looking for.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Stapleton. Any further questions, discussion, motion? Commissioner Stapleton?
I'd like to make a motion in the case of LDC 10-00017. Based on compliance with the applicable findings, I move to recommend that City Council approve the zoning map amendment to PUD by ordinance subject to Condition A and to LLR 2.5 by ordinance.
Thank you very much. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Harris.
Commissioner Harris, I will second that motion. I can make all the findings.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Good luck with your project. Thank you. Next on our agenda this evening TXT 12-00008, tattoo regulations. Marilyn, welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. This particular project is a cleanup project after the Ninth Circuit declared that tattoos and tattooing and even the shops that do the tattooing are protected, are considered pure expression and protected by the First Amendment. Because of that, there are additional protections that need to be placed into our Reno Municipal Code, and the proposed changes are those that are required by the Ninth Circuit.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, I will open public comment. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this agenda item? Hearing and seeing none, I will close public comment, bring it back to the commission for motion, discussion, question. Commissioner Romeo.
And Mr. Chairman, the case of TXT 12-00008, based upon compliance with the applicable findings, I move to recommend that City Council approve the text amendment by ordinance.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I did have a question.
Commissioner Stapleton.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Dennis, I thought you were going to ask a
You know
question.
what, let's see if we can, let's get the motion in second, and then we'll bring it back and I'll,
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
that's okay. Commissioner Kaufman,
I'll second that motion.
thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. Discussions and questions, Commissioner Stapleton.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't quick enough. Marilyn, I do have a question for you. On page 16, the language that's being added, and I understand the intent is to make sure that the First Amendment stuff is here in the code. How about the phrase, "and maintain property values"? How come that's in there, and what's the nexus with that?
One of the issues is whether tattoo parlors decrease the property values, and so one of the goals of the city is to maintain property values. If you don't want it, you're certainly welcome to remove it.
Here's my thought, in that I know that what we're trying to do is protect the city from First Amendment stuff, and that in terms of particular uses having an effect on property values, part of the reason why we're here, different uses have different externalities that affect surrounding properties in different ways. But generally, there's a nexus. It's there's fumes. If you're working on cars, there's noise and chemicals and things like that. In this case, what would be the nexus besides the appearance of the folks that go there? Do you understand my question?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be the appearance. It would be simply a concentration of the same type of activity. So you might have a certain number of tattoo parlors that are all gathered together. Some jurisdictions want all of a certain type of activity gathered together. Others want them separated. So it is simply to address that as one of the goals.
Right.
But if you don't care for it, we can certainly take it out. It's not critical.
No, that makes sense to me. I just think that having that phrase in there to make, even if there was a bunch of them all together, what can you say is the externality or the effect besides the gathering of a certain type of people all together in one neighborhood? And it just, to me, it sounds like a little, dangerous to say something like that. I would rather see that phrase not included.
You're welcome to remove it.
I don't know if any of the other commissioners have
Okay.
any thoughts on that, but.
Commissioners, discussion?
What page was that on?
16, down at the bottom in the purpose. About halfway through the paragraph.
Commissioner Harris.
Yes, Marilyn, a question for you. That statement is not part of the court case? I guess the
No.
surrounding language of the text amendment is not part of that court case?
It would be a part of the discussion that took place, but not necessarily the holding of the court. So again, you're welcome to remove it. It is not something that's required to be in there. It is simply the purpose statement. So you don't have to have it.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Woosley, I have a question.
Commissioner Woosley?
And please go over from the first word to the last word, the exact sentence, please.
Right. I mean, I think it's actually, up to you guys and maybe open for discussion, but to protect the quality of life for the residents and tourists of the city of Reno and maintain property values. So I think that whole phrase, because you're talking about quality of life and property values, and at some point you have to, if that's in the code, you would have to say, what's the connection between quality of life and property values, even if it is concentrated and there's 10 of them, you might have to have that discussion. Well, what is it? Is it the way that people look? Is it the nature of the business? And then to me, that's dangerous territory. So long answer, to protect the quality of life for the residents and tourists of the city of Reno and maintain property values. Yeah, I would suggest to delete that.
Commissioner Romeo, you made the motion. Are you okay to amend that, or would you like to withdraw your motion?
No, I think I'm fine with the amended part. It's a statement. It's not anything other than that. It has no teeth or no authoritative base, so I don't have a problem with taking that out. We have the same remedies for any business that if people were hanging out the front, no matter what the business were, and causing a disturbance or a nuisance in the neighborhood, we have the same remedies for any business, tattoo parlor or a casino. I mean, the city can go in and do what they need to do to make it right. So
I would like to just make sure that we also note, this isn't just about people. This is about appearance of buildings, signage, parking. It's a whole gamut of things that can be the variable to the devaluation of an adjacent property. So I'd like to caution us of just focusing on patrons.
Can I ask?
Because it's not just patrons.
You're right, and I probably shouldn't have said that, but could be any of those things that included,
It's a whole gamut of those things, but let's not just be focused on patrons.
Then I'll ask Marilyn one quick question. Does removing any part of that have anything to do with any enforcement action that would happen?
I don't think that would be, I think that we can deal with it otherwise, and I
Okay.
think that would not be harmful to any enforcement action.
Okay, so it really bears little effect on, if it were in or out, it really doesn't affect it much. So I'll amend my motion.
Okay,
I'm
have
fine
an
with
amended motion. Commissioner Kaufman, are you okay with an amended second?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Commissioner Stapleton, since you have proposed the change in language, I'm assuming that you can take that out of your binder and give that to Michelle so she can change for meeting minutes?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have an amended motion, an amended second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next on our agenda this evening, Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Liaison Report. Commissioner Romeo, we had a meeting last
We had a very brief meeting.
last month.
And it was housekeeping type issues, so we'll be meeting again in March, so second Wednesday.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Woosley, would you like to add anything since you attended?
I think that was everything.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, staff announcements. Vern? I'll give you all 4 paragraphs. Have at it.
Vern Kless, Senior Planner. The first thing is that we're trying to set up a goal-setting meeting for the Planning Commission for your goals for this year. The 2 potential dates are February 29th and March 7th at 5 p.m. And just to let you know that, Michelle will be in contact with you all to see which meeting works the best for all of you. It would probably be at 5 o'clock up in the 7th floor conference room.
And Vern, that's our annual meeting that we usually have for goal setting, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Also, as far as recent council action, or actually the council is going to hear the billboard ordinance on February 8th on appeal. And then after that, staff will be looking at the entire code with emphasis on on-premises signs, TODs in regional centers and streamlining the process, looking at, what needs a special use permit, what doesn't, that sort of thing. So those are the announcements that I have, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them if I can.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Vern? None. Thank you, Vern.
Thank you.
Commissioners' suggestions for future agenda items? None? Public comment. This public comment item is to allow the public to provide general public comment and not for comment on individual action items contained on this agenda. Public comment is open. Michelle, do we have any requests to speak for us?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Anyone else here this evening like to speak on this agenda item? Hearing and seeing none, I close public comment. Motion for adjournment. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. We can give them back to Michelle and she can reuse.